It's Saturday morning at 10 a.m., so you know what that means. It's time for What's Up, Ocala? With tens of thousands of viewers every month on our YouTube channel and millions so far on TikTok, we are joined by our host, local owner and broker of Great Expectations Realty, Andrea Praber.
Good morning and welcome to What's Up, Ocala. I'm your host, Andrea Praber. I'm the broker of Great Expectations Realty here in Ocala, Florida. And today's topic was going to be about sinkholes, and I know some of you were really looking forward to that and really excited about that information. Don't worry, it's still in there. But right now, we're going to get into something else. Why, you ask? Why are we holding off on sinkholes? Well, because on March 27th, Governor Ron DeSantis signed the Property Rights Bill, HB 621, which seeks to provide homeowners remedies against squatting and increases penalties substantially on squatters. So I definitely want to talk about this. This is huge. Let's get into this. All right, let's start with a very likely scenario where you maybe recently lost your mom or your dad that was elderly. You're dealing with your grief. You are making funeral arrangements. You are working on grave sites or urns, and you're letting family and friends know what happened. You can't get to it right away because of grief, or maybe because, the home that they had, there's just so much to go through, or maybe the home went into probate. So it's just sitting there empty. But within a few weeks or months, you go to figure out what to do with your mom or your dad's house, and you've now inherited it, and you're not really sure what you want to do with it, and you're not really looking forward to going through their things and figuring that stuff out. But you stop by one day to make sure the house is okay and come up with a game plan or whatever, and you see someone else open the front door with a key and go inside like they live there. And you go to go to the house and your key doesn't work anymore. Whoever it was just changed the locks. Or maybe worse, let's say you go on vacation. You're going on vacation. Awesome. Maybe you're taking a week or two to visit family out of state. Great. Sounds like fun. It's something we all enjoy doing, right? If we can. But what happens when you get back and you're coming home and you're tired from traveling and you're thinking about all the stuff you need to do tomorrow and the laundry to get done, and you pull up to your home and you notice there's lights on and some of the windows are open, and quite frankly, you're scared. Someone's broken into your home. Well, you immediately call the police, right? They show up and you tell them there's people there, and actually they're living in your home. You've never seen them before in your life. They're not only going through your belongings and using them, but as you kind of peek into the house, since that's all that they'll let you or the police do, you see that they are actually trashing your house. There's food and dogs and cats everywhere. And there's an odor coming out of the house. And oh no. Then the people show a signed lease to the sheriff with your name on it, which is public record, right? And it's showing you as the landlord. It's not your signature. And supposedly you signed it while you were actually across the country. The sheriff or the police, they tell you there's nothing they can do. You have to file an eviction. The squatter gets to stay there for free, trashing your home daily as you wait for the court process. Come to find out, they're actually pros at this scam, and they've actually already got a dozen evictions on their record. So what's one more? They don't care. They actually delay the inevitable eviction for months through a very systematic manipulation of the court system that they know so well at this point. And all of that they're doing so that they can continue to live on your dime while also selling your possessions and appliances on websites like Facebook Marketplace and eBay. And there's nothing you can do about it. Also, it's illegal for you to even approach them because that's harassment, right? You can't enter the residence or even turn off the utilities that are in your name. When you eventually get the eviction after thousands of dollars in court costs and attorney fees, there's tens of thousands of dollars in damages to your home. And the whole time, you've basically been homeless. The squatters are long gone, and even though you have a judgment against them, well, great. They don't have a job or wages to garnish, nor do they care to get one. So basically, you can't really do much of anything. This would never happen, right? It can't happen. That's not fair. That's not right. It happens all the time. I personally have seen stuff like this happen even right here in Ocala, especially on vacant homes that are for sale. In some states throughout the United States, it is incredibly easy to do. And it can take up to a year to get through the eviction process, as there are laws in other states protecting squatters' rights, which supersede the rights of the homeowner. It is craziness, right? Well, according to DeSantis, we are putting an end to the squatter scam in Florida. He said this in an announcement. He says, you're not going to be able to commandeer somebody's private property and expect to get away with it. In the state of Florida, we are ending the squatter scam once and for all. Well, that's what he did. For House Bill 621, it authorizes property owners to request action by the sheriff's office to immediately remove any unauthorized persons from your home. With a simple form, the sheriff's offices can assist to keep the peace while the property owner or the agent of the owner, so basically like we are property managers, they can go in and change the locks and remove the personal possessions or personal property of the squatter from the premises and put it out by the curb. No, you cannot keep that. That's stealing. Let's not get crazy here. You go ahead and put that to the curb so that they're not tempted to try to re-enter the house to get their possessions. According to the bill, it has severe criminal penalties for violators, and this is what's new. Having these criminal charges will actually potentially end the squatter scammer cycle if the sheriff or police officer is able to see the prior criminal charges for past squatter offenses. So how stiff are these penalties? They are very stiff. There's a first degree misdemeanor for trying to use a fraudulent lease. I love that. That's great. There's a second degree felony for unlawfully occupying or trespassing in a residential dwelling and intentionally causing $1,000 or more in damages. Whew. And it's now a first degree felony for advertising the sale or rent of a residential property without legal authority or ownership. So rental scams, they are cracking down on. To clarify this, as an example of a first degree felony, it's battery on a law enforcement officer. That's a first degree felony as well. So in Florida, as of March 27th, running a rental scam on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever could get you up to 30 years in prison and $10,000 fine. For the many families that have had their identities stolen by fake applications and thousands of dollars taken from them from this type of fraud, I don't think they're going to lose any sleep over having a severe penalty for these people. I can't tell you how many times I have seen rental scams, honestly. Craigslist used to be the worst, but honestly, now it's Facebook. And we're not talking just for Facebook Marketplace, but daily on Facebook groups like Ocala, Florida Homes for Rent or Ocala for Rent. The Facebook groups were probably made by a very well-meaning person trying to make rental information more readily available, trying to, gather all of that together for people looking for rentals. But they have been long ago overrun with soon-to-be felons trying to steal identities and money on fake listings. I have done so many short videos, real quick videos showing how easy it is to spot these fake ads and to please stop falling for them. If you didn't fall for them, then they wouldn't do them. If you're looking for a rental and you don't know if it's a real ad or a fake one or whatever, there's some very simple things to look for. Okay, so if you are looking for a rental, first off, if you think it's a scam, you're probably right. Okay, don't second guess yourself wishing for it to be real. It's a scam and you are about to be a victim. If it doesn't have an address or even a city listed in the ad, That's a big red flag. Often the scammer is somebody from another country, or they're running that same ad all over the United States, and it's probably pictures stolen from a real estate listing on Zillow from Connecticut or something. And they're just using those same pictures town after town after town, trying to get as many people to be victims as possible. So first thing I would say is check the pictures. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at the pictures of a supposed Ocala rental listing. And when you look at the windows, you can clearly see skyscrapers, mountains, and even snow outside. Okay, that's not, that's not real. Okay, look at the actual pictures. Okay, don't just look at the, rose-colored glasses. Like, literally look out the windows in the pictures. Check the architecture as well. If it's a Florida home, it's not going to have a basement. I mean, really. If they say they're just looking for a good, clean Christian, or that they are a Christian and just wanting to help out, this is a huge red flag for me. Huge. And it just kind of really, it makes my blood boil every time I see it. If it's included as part of a con job, it just drives me nuts. First off, that is a potential federal fair housing violation for somebody that would actually put that. And it could actually get the owner a HUD complaint and a lawsuit. Second, okay, y'all know I do not bring religion or politics on here, but I am a Christian. And my understanding of being a Christian is that I recognize that I am imperfect and that I sin and fall short of the perfect example. And because of that, I need Jesus' sacrifice and example in my daily life. So, I mean, think on that. When somebody is saying something like that they can be trusted simply because they're Christian, that's just, weird. It's basically opposite in my mind. How can you be saying you're recognizing yourself as a sinner and you're trustworthy because you recognize that? It makes no sense to me. And I mean, the audacity to use religion or Christianity in your con. Whew. No fear, right? You have no fear. But I mean, I'm going to step on over here on this side of the line that you just crossed with that. Okay. Conning people with that is just, wow. All right, let's move on to the next one. If they say they don't do a background or credit check of any kind and all pets are welcome, I mean, really, this is a house that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably one of the largest assets of the owner. And they don't care who's living there or if they bring in 15 large dogs. I mean, let's be real. They don't do that. Another one is if they say utilities included. That's normally a sign right there. Now, in short-term vacation rentals, especially in like 55 plus communities, the utilities are sometimes included. The rent in these circumstances are much, much higher. So if you got low rent and utility, that's a scam. But also when utilities are included, there's normally a cap to protect the property owner from utility abuses, such as turning on the AC full blast and leaving all the doors and windows open. Okay. You just don't do that. I've rarely seen where this is just kind of carte blanche, all utilities included. It is extremely, extremely rare. But in these scams, that's one of the most common things that they put in there. Again, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. All right, now here's the rub. How is the sheriff's deputy or police officer supposed to know if someone was scammed and was given a fake lease and they're the victim, or if they're actually a squatter? The result's going to be the same for the actual property owner with this new law, in that they'll get their property back immediately. But these tenant victims potentially could face felony charges if they can't prove that they were actually victims of a rental scam instead of squatters. Yeah, think about that. My very strong and loud advice, hopefully you're listening, do not rent strictly from online. Go to the actual office of a state licensed property manager or sales associate or brokerage, whatever, that handles rentals, and meet with them at their office. The license number, the state license number, is going to be right next to the door. Don't just meet someone at the property and try and save yourself time from instead of going to their office, because you want to make sure the office is real and it's actually there. Because I've actually had someone break into a home. They broke the bathroom window in order to conduct a fraudulent showing. Okay, I had to have the police out there. It was all sorts of things. This was several years ago, but it still stuck with me because how dangerous is that? How dangerous is that going in that house? All right, getting back to the squatter side of things, many people don't know we actually already had a small clause in Chapter 82 of Florida statutes where transient occupants are subject to a swift removal process that takes place without a court hearing. So basically, it was already in existence. In fact, I actually did a small video about this last year. And this process it's often used for, in Florida, it's like a simpler, quicker way to remove transient or unlawful tenants who are occupying the property, squatters, basically. So what's the big deal about HB 621 if that law already existed? Well, it expands the definition of transient occupants in two ways. Those include renters without a notarized lease and tenants without a receipt of rental payment to the property's owner. Whoa, game changer there. Currently, it's not in any lease that I know of in any company I've ever seen to have a lease notarized. But guess what I'm asking my attorney about now? A notarized lease. A property management agreement, yeah, of course, that has to be notarized because we can't sign leases on behalf of the owner without that being notarized. So that, yes. But the lease? Nope. So there are some saying that this is going to open the door to landlords to use this provision as an alternative to the formal eviction process, and they're going to take away due process. I mean, with the way this law was written, a landlord could potentially say, well, in the case of non-payment of rent, I'm just going to sign an affidavit to the sheriff saying that they're a transient occupant and they should be removed without a court order because I don't have to do that. They haven't paid rent. They can't provide proof of paying rent. So I'm going to try and do that. The other issue is that it can potentially repeal the adverse possession of real property. What on earth is that? Okay. So in Florida, currently, the law permits a person who is openly and continuously occupying property to eventually become the owner of that property just by occupying it. Now, keep in mind, it's always been very hard, at least in recent years, to kind of exercise a claim for adverse possession against the owner of a property. It's really difficult. A lot of that's in part because Florida requires that the person must reside on the property, bold as you can be, for at least 7 years and pay the property taxes before attempting to stake a claim of adverse possession. Whew. Okay. Where are you going to see something like that? A tenant? Really? I have actually seen that in the past. But normally, you're going to see this more on the sales side when it's being used to resolve rural land disputes over boundaries or to deal with property that's been left without an heir. I saw it used often or attempted to be used often during the whole Taylor Bean and Whitaker fiasco in 2008-ish with mortgages that were unenforceable. And they couldn't even foreclose on them. That's a whole other show. Well, let's not go back to that. I don't want to. That was a time of great sadness. I don't even think about it. But it was used at that point. But honestly, the most common is if a friend of a deceased homeowner who has no heirs or family members, if they're occupying the property and they're paying taxes on the property for 7 years, he or she would have cause to become the legal owner under that current Florida law. But will that still be the case with this HB 621? I don't know. It's up for debate in the courts, of course. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on all of this stuff? Share them on Classic Hits Ocala Facebook page, or if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment in our comment section below. All right. We are going to take a real quick break. And when we get back, we're going over all the fun stuff to do this weekend and current stats on what's going on in the real estate in Marion County. And yeah, we'll be right back.
At Great Expectations Realty, we believe that you should expect more from your real estate experience. When you hire a realtor to sell your home, you should expect experienced advice on staging your home, professional photography, aerial photos, virtual video tours, and a national presence online to advertise your home to the largest pool of buyers. Your realtor should communicate from start to finish, and always remember this is your home. You are in the driver's seat. We believe that if you aren't happy with our efforts, you should be able to fire us. We don't have cancellation fees, and our sellers never pay transaction fees either. Call Great Expectations Realty at 352-817-9160 or go online to greatexpectationsrealty.com. greatexpectationsrealty.com to get your free analysis of your home's market price. Great Expectations Realty. Expect more from real estate.
Okay, welcome back. Before we get into the sales stats this week, I want to ask a small favor. If you're enjoying this program, let us know. The website here at the radio station is classichitsocala.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment in the comments section below. If you're a fan and you truly think that we have helped or educated you or just entertained you in some way, share. Okay. We do not have some huge marketing budget, so please feel free to share. Go on to YouTube, click subscribe if you haven't already. All right. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the real estate stats for this week here in Marion County. This is over the last 7 days, so I'm sure you are super excited to see what is going on this week. Currently, there are 3,312 homes available and ready to purchase. That's about 60 fewer houses sitting on the market over last week's numbers. So kind of interesting. We're actually going down in inventory, which is interesting to see. Take note, folks, that this number has slowly but steadily been going down lately, week after week. New listings that hit the market, 255. Price increase, 73. Price decrease, 378. Yowza. Back on the market, 80. Sold, 339. My goodness. All right. Expired, 52. Pending, 304. Wow. Houses are a-selling this week. Temporarily off the market, 22. Withdrawn, 9. Canceled, 59. The current average interest rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 6.88%, falling 10 basis points since the same time last week. If you're looking to refinance your current mortgage, the national average 30-year refinance interest rate is 6.88%. That was also decreasing 11 basis points from a week ago. Mortgage rates have definitely been shifting around, but they are still kind of high. So in 2024 or for 2024, the experts in that realm are all predicting that the 30-year mortgage will slowly but steadily decline, eventually landing right at or under 6%. Currently, the 15-year fixed rate is 6.42%, and the 30-year fixed rate FHA is 6.69%. So real estate sales in Marion County for this week have risen, which is looking promising for the year. Great news for sellers as far as, there's less houses on the market to compete with, but maybe not such great news for buyers. Why? Why do you ask? Well, yes, of course, buyers want to have those lower interest rates, but currently sellers are giving they're giving concessions away like crazy. They're buying down points for buyers. They're dropping prices. They are giving closing costs, and there are plenty of houses on the market. You have over 3,000 to choose from. And if you make a reasonable offer, it's likely to be accepted. So what happens when the interest rates drop down a bit more towards the end of the year during election time? Well, more and more buyers will be buying, and then we'll see less and less of those concessions and discounts and less houses available to choose from. So if you're thinking about buying a home, the best advice I can give you is the best time to buy a home is when you need a home. Don't try to time the market. This is honestly one of the best, easiest times in years to be a home buyer, because you have plenty of selection. You have plenty of options available through the sellers. This is great. That's all likely to change more towards the end of this year. So the mortgage lenders I've been talking to this week are getting many of their customers interest rates in the high 5s and low 6s, which is great. So it just depends on your own application, but the national average rate is in the 6s as well. All right. This weekend, fun stuff. Downtown Ocala is, of course, the place to be. In fact, why aren't you there already? You can visit all the local vendors, the bakers, the artisans, and, of course, the farmers at the farmers market. Don't stress about any weird weather either, because it's all under roof. So you can enjoy rain or shine. Just get out there and check that place out. It is so much fun. The Ocala splash pads at Citizens Circle and Lily's Pad are officially open. And honestly, if you haven't taken your kids to one of these splash pads before, you are missing out big time. There's some really comfy chairs, and splash pads are free to the public. It's open daily from sunrise to sunset. Just let your kids wear themselves out. They can have fun while staying cool and just enjoy Florida. And it's about the sweetest time of year here in Ocala. It's one of my favorite times of year. It's the blueberries that are ripening up, and you can easily find a You Pick blueberry farm throughout the area. My family and I have always enjoyed the beauty and the serenity to be found over at the Abshire Family Farms. That is located at 3960 Southeast 115th Street in Bellevue, but you can pretty much find your favorite blueberry farm for your family all over Central Florida right now. If you're interested in finding out more about my favorite Abshire Blueberry Farm, just visit them on Facebook. They've got an awesome Facebook page. It's Abshire Blueberry Farm. You'll love it. Lots of great stuff is happening in Ocala. We have the Levitt Amp Music Series, the Symphony Under Stars coming up in May, the Rock the Country Music Festival I'm really looking forward to in June. There's just so much stuff that's happening. So stay tuned for all the details on all of that. We will keep you up to date on it all. But for this week, that's it. That's it for us. So don't worry. We will be back next week on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for another show. So we will see you then. Thanks so much. Bye.
You've been listening to What's Up, Ocala? Follow us all week on Andrea Praber's YouTube channel and TikTok. We'll see you next week at 10 a.m. on What's Up, Ocala.